From the shadowed heights of an alien observatory, a council watches in disbelief as a blazing human warship burns through their cloud cover like a meteor from a Deathworld forge. Fear, confusion, and dread ripple among the elders. A human commander's cold promise slices through silence, a herald of vengeance born in hellish worlds. The council chamber of the Vyrix Dominion loomed like a crown of jagged obsidian, perched above the swirling acid clouds of Tarkna, a world their ancestors called paradise. Within, the high siblings gathered around the glowing hexagonal table, eyes fixed on the holoscreen. A fiery streak blazed across the tempestuous sky, a single vessel clawing through layers of toxic clouds with impossible speed and furious heat. It burned like a star, born from death itself, trailing incandescent embers against the roiling miasma. "How is this possible?" hissed Elder Zyron, his 6 eyes narrowing. "No craft can survive Tarkna's upper atmosphere without disintegrating." "Yet there it is," murmured Sister Vael, her tendrils twitching in disbelief. "And it's human." The projection zoomed in. The ship's hull bore scars and scorch marks, but no catastrophic damage. Instead, it shimmered with a faint blue pulse, a cloak disrupting Tarkna's corrosive gases and lightning storms. "They've adapted," growled Elder Zyron, "survived what should have destroyed them." A junior scout entered nervously, antennae quivering. "Reports say the vessel emerged from the cloud layer, cutting through our patrols like a blade forged in hellfire." "Why now?" Vael whispered, voice trembling. "After centuries of silence?" The room fell into uneasy silence as the holoscreen shifted. Tactical overlays flickered, showing the ship's trajectory, straight toward the heart of Vyrix's orbital defense. On the bridge of the human ship Dauntless, Commander Kara Vesh stared down the storm. Outside, the thick clouds raged, a crucible of sulfur and lightning. The deck vibrated with the ship's thrusters pushing beyond rated limits. Her voice was calm but resolute. "Engage plasma veils and prepare for cloud burn. We're cutting through to the surface. No deviations." Lieutenant Reyes glanced over. "They'll expect us to avoid Tarkna's atmosphere." "Then they don't know what we've become," Kara said quietly, eyes burning with a grim fire. "This isn't just a ship. It's a forge of vengeance. Our betrayal ends here." A countdown began in her comm unit. 6, 5, 4, each number a hammer strike on her crew's resolve. Behind the comm silence, the human ship's engines flared in a final burst, piercing the toxic veil with roaring agony and bright trails. Dauntless burned through the clouds like a comet born from Deathworld fury. Back in the council chamber, the elders' faces twisted into disbelief and fear. "Elder," Zyron's voice cracked, "they come from the ashes. Born of worlds we thought extinct," Vael whispered, voice breaking. "They bring death, but it is mercy we have never known." The room's tension snapped like a shattered bone. A distant rumble echoed. A power shift felt across the Dominion. Kara's final words crackled in the silence of space. "We are the storm you ignored. And now, Tarkna will burn." Beneath the burning skies of Tarkna, humanity's harsh origins unfold through the eyes of a scientist and a soldier. As the Dauntless descends, the brutal environment shapes their resilience and lethal technology. The aliens underestimate humanity's intimate bond with Deathworlds, a bond that breeds both sacrifice and unyielding strength. The airlock hissed open with a metallic groan, releasing a gout of superheated acidic air into the ship's docking. "Bay!" Lieutenant Reyes activated his environmental shield, the translucent barrier crackling as it fought the planet's venomous atmosphere. Outside, Tarkna stretched, a living nightmare of sulphurous geysers, jagged obsidian spires, and relentless storms. The sky bled crimson and gold as the sun struggled through toxic clouds. This was no sanctuary, but a crucible. "Feels like home," Reyes muttered, tightening his grip on the plasma rifle. Years of training on Deathworlds had taught him one truth: survival here demanded more than weapons. It required an unbreakable will. Dr. Malia Jensen stood nearby, scanning the environment with a handheld analyzer. Her eyes were sharp, but the planet's hostility pressed on her nerves. Tarkna's atmosphere corrodes standard alloys within hours, she said. But the Dauntless's hull nanocoating absorbs and neutralizes the toxins at a molecular level. We learned from its heart. Our Deathworlds gave us this edge. She gestured toward the planet's violent storms, lightning crackling with unnatural energy. The ionized clouds disrupt their sensors and communications. They think it's a barrier, but it's a weapon we harness. Reyes nodded, the harsh wind whipping his cloak. They never saw the forge. Below the landing site, native Viriks outposts lay shattered. The dauntless arrival was not subtle. Plasma bombardments had rained down, turning obsidian towers to glass. Malia's voice softened. Each crater is a memory of sacrifice. Our ancestors fought through worlds. Like this, Tarkna is a trial by fire. Reyes glanced at her, respect in his eyes. You don't just study Deathworlds, you live them. Exactly, she replied. The Viriks think we're primitive, slow, reactive, but we've been tempered by fire and survival. That's why they fear us now. A sudden tremor rippled through the ground as the ship's shields flared, warding off a volley of enemy plasma bolts. Incoming! Reyes shouted, raising his rifle. The first volley scorched the atmosphere, lighting the sky like a solar flare. The team scrambled for cover amid jagged rocks, the acrid smoke burning their lungs despite the filters. From the ship's comm, Commander Vesh's voice came steady, unwavering. Hold position. We are not here to conquer. We are here to reclaim. Malia gritted her teeth, her mind racing. They don't understand. It's not just about weapons. It's about who we've become, crafted by worlds they abandoned. As the Viriks forces regrouped, launching disorganized counterattacks, Reyes whispered, they're not just facing humans, they're facing a species forged by death itself. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the scorched earth. Humanity's ship had burned through the clouds, but its fire would ignite a war born in hell. A human soldier and an alien commander confront the brutal aftermath of the initial strike. Psychological scars and raw hatred surface as they both face the cost of war. Humanity's origins on Deathworlds shape not only their tactics, but their unyielding spirit, seen as madness by their foes. The scorched air still smoldered as Sergeant Lena Marks surveyed the battlefield beneath the blood-streaked sky of Tarkna. Broken obsidian shards jutted like the teeth of some monstrous beast, casting long, trembling shadows. Her boots crunched over alien remains and twisted metal. The scent of ozone and burnt flesh clung to the air. A faint hum vibrated through the ground, the ship dauntless, ready to strike again. Lena's breath was shallow, eyes scanning every ridge. The Viriks weren't just shaken, they were desperate, reckless. Their counterattacks had grown more ferocious, less coordinated. Why do they keep sending wave after wave, she muttered. Because they fear us, replied Corporal Jin, wiping soot from his face. We're not just invaders, we're a storm they can't predict. Lena nodded grimly, remembering the early days training on Earth's deadliest wastelands, where humanity had learned to endure and retaliate. On the other side of Tarkna's ravaged plains, Virik's commander Saltar crouched behind a fractured spire, eyes burning with fury and confusion. They came from the clouds like demons, Saltar hissed into his comm, voice shaking. Their ship, damaged but unstoppable. They move with madness and precision. His second-in-command, Valeth, placed a clawed hand on his shoulder. Their nature is a mystery, a primitive species, yet they harness Deathworlds as weapons. Saltar's gaze darkened. They burn through everything, but why? What drives them to such fury? Valith's voice dropped. Betrayal. They speak of vengeance, of a past we cannot comprehend. Back in the human camp, Lena stared at the horizon, where the skies boiled with storms. "We don't forget," she said quietly. "Deathworlds like Tarkna don't just kill you. They change you, harden you." Corporal Jin nodded. Every scar is a lesson, every loss, fuel. The tension stretched tight as distant thunder rolled. In the silence, Lena recalled Commander Vesh's words from the ship. "We are not here to conquer. We are here to reclaim." "What are we reclaiming?" Jin asked. "Our right to survive," Lena replied. "Our past, our future." Far above, the dauntless engines flared against the oppressive clouds. Below, humanity's fire burned, an unyielding force from a Deathworld forge, echoing through the shattered skies. Aboard the Dauntless, the crew activates ancient and secret human protocols designed for total war and silent strikes. The psychological toll deepens as soldiers face ghostly memories of betrayal and loss. The aliens' confusion intensifies. Humanity's hidden tech and resolve confound their expectations and rewrite the rules of engagement. Deep within the hull of the Dauntless, the hum of nanotech infused every surface. The ship was alive, a seamless fusion of Deathworld engineering and human ingenuity. Commander Krylos Vex stood in the dimmed command chamber, fingers poised over a tactile interface. Her voice was low but authoritative. "Initiate protocol Silent Thorn." Lieutenant Reyes blinked, brow furrowed. "Silent Thorn? That's an old one. Nearly forgotten after the Outer Reaches campaign." Kara's eyes hardened. "It was forged in betrayal. We use it when the enemy believes the war's ended, when silence becomes a weapon." Around them, the crew activated cloaking fields, arrays of nanomaterial shifting light and electromagnetic signatures. The ship's hull shimmered, then vanished from enemy sensors. Dr. Malia Jensen adjusted parameters on the tactical map. EMP pulses will disrupt their comm links, but localized, so we remain functional. They won't know what hit them. The bridge filled with an eerie quiet, broken only by the soft clicks of data streams. Each soldier carried the weight of humanity's past, stories whispered in dark halls of ambushes and broken treaties. Kara's gaze drifted to a faded insignia on her sleeve, the symbol of the lost colony, a death world once abandoned and betrayed by the Galactic Council. "Why do they fight like this?" Reyes asked softly. Kara's voice was a whisper. "Because they know what it means to be forsaken, and we don't forget." Meanwhile, in the Varric's war room, panic brewed. General Zyron's antennas twitched uncontrollably. Their ship disappeared. From every sensor. How can they wage war without presence? "We underestimated them," a junior officer confessed. "They used tech from Deathworlds, cloaking, EMP, nanotech. It's unlike anything we've faced." Zyron slammed a claw on the console. "We must adapt, but their silence, it's a weapon in itself." Back aboard the Dauntless, a cold stillness settled. The crew waited, ready for the moment when the shadows would strike. Kara's voice cut through the silence, sharp as a blade. "Tonight, we burn through the darkness. For every world betrayed, for every life lost, they will know what it means to face humanity, born of fire, silence, and iron will." The lights dimmed, and the ship vanished into the storm clouds once more, silent, deadly, and unstoppable. As humanity's ship vanishes into Tarkna's deadly storms, Commander Krylos Vex leads a covert strike deep into enemy territory, blending cutting-edge stealth technology with raw human grit. Meanwhile, Varric's forces grapple with shattered pride and growing terror, unraveling their assumptions about human nature. Both sides face physical and emotional crucibles that will define the war's brutal heart and the cost of survival forged in Deathworld fire. The Dauntless slipped beneath Tarkna's turbulent clouds like a shadow swallowed by flame, its Nanotech cloaking bent light and radiation, turning it nearly invisible to the scattered Viric satellites and patrols. Inside, the atmosphere was tense, a frozen moment before the storm. Commander Krylos Vex stood rigid in the command chamber, eyes narrowed on the flickering tactical map. Every blip was a threat, every silence a warning. Around her, the bridge crew moved with precise efficiency, each aware that the fragile cloak hiding them could shatter at any moment. "We're in," Kara said, voice low but sharp. "Deploy the Vanguard team. They're our spear into the heart." Of Vyric's command, Lieutenant Reyes stepped forward, his face lit by the cold glow of the consoles. "Vanguard team is ready. Their objective: disrupt Vyric's communication nodes, sow chaos and buy us time." "Good," Kara nodded. "They must disappear into the crucible. No contact until extraction window opens." Beneath the Dauntless, Tarknar's surface writhed. With danger, acid geysers erupted in sudden bursts, and jagged black spires pierced the hellish landscape like sharpened bones. The sky boiled with corrosive storms, lightning crackling with lethal energy. The Vanguard team prepared in the landing bay. 6 of humanity's finest soldiers, clad in adaptive stealth armor woven with reactive nanofibers. The armor blurred their outlines, camouflaging them against the shifting colors of the toxic wasteland. Sergeant Lena Marks led the group. Her face was streaked with soot, eyes fierce with determination. "Remember," Lena briefed, voice steady. "Despite the tension, Tarknar is a death world. Every breath could be your last. Stay sharp, stay silent, move like ghosts." Corporal Jin checked his plasma rifle's charge. "They won't see us coming." The airlock opened, and a blast of sulphurous wind slammed against them. The team stepped out, swallowed instantly by the nightmarish landscape. Lena's boots sank into ash and shattered rock. Above, lightning streaked across the sky like veins of fire. "Keep to the shadows," she ordered. "We're not here to fight, we're here to disappear." Back in the Vyrix war room, panic churned into fury. "General." Zyron paced, antennae twitching erratically. The disappearance of the Dauntless from sensors was more than baffling. It was an affront to their pride and power. "They breach our airspace and vanish like phantoms," Zyron growled. "Our technology is superior, yet they elude us." Junior officer trembled as she reported fresh incursions near the command hubs. "Multiple sabotage events, sir. Communications disrupted. Our forces are disorganized." "Humans," Zyron spat. "A primitive species, yes, but driven by a madness born in death." His second-in-command, Valeth, sighed, voice cold but tinged with dread. "They don't fight like others. They burn through our defenses, then fade away. It's not just technology, it's their nature." Zyron's eyes darkened. "Then we will lure them into the open, prepare counter-offensives. We strike back with everything." On Tarknar's surface, Lena's team moved through toxic mists and jagged crevices. Every step measured. The night air was thick with static and the scent of sulfur. "Status," Lena whispered into her comm. "Stealth intact," came Jin's reply. "No signs of patrols nearby. But the atmosphere's fighting us. Keep filters maxed." They approached. A towering obelisk, a communication relay tower carved from crystalline obsidian, pulsing with alien energy. "Target locked," Lena said. "Set charges on my mark." They worked quickly, installing nanobombs designed to disable circuitry without causing a massive explosion. Silent sabotage. Suddenly, a piercing shriek shattered the silence. "Contact. 3 hostiles inbound." "Fast!" Lena's heart hammered. "Positions! Defensive formations!" The Vyrix patrol emerged like shadows themselves, elongated limbs and glistening mandibles gleaming in the stormlight. Their weapons glowed with unstable plasma. Jin fired, burst a bright bolt cutting through the air. Lena's team erupted into action, plasma rifles singing, grenades tossed with precision. The firefight was brutal and brief. The hostile creatures fell one by one, but the silence shattered. The Vanguard's location was compromised. Move! Extraction in T-minus 5 minutes, Lena ordered, grabbing Jin's arm. They sprinted back through the acid rain-soaked wasteland, the sky crackling with lightning that seemed to chase them. Every breath burned, every step was a gamble. Behind them, distant explosions shook the ground. The charges had detonated, severing Vyrix communications in a pulsing wave. Back on the Dauntless, Kara's eyes flicked to the monitor displaying live feeds from the Vanguard team's neural cams. They're exposed, she murmured. Prepare the Shadow Squadron for support insertion, Lieutenant Reyes acknowledged, deploying nanodrones and EMP pulses to disrupt enemy reinforcements. The Dauntless released swarms of microscopic drones into Tarknar's toxic sky, nanomachines, buzzing unseen, hacking enemy systems, jamming signals, and disabling weapons remotely. The battlefield was transforming into a ghostly maze, controlled by human technology and instinct. Deep inside the Vyrix command center, Commander Saltar struggled to maintain order. Communications severed. Our forces fragmented, he barked, frustration mounting. How do they wage war with such precision and vanish? His aide's voice was grave. They come from Deathworlds. Their very biology and technology are adapted to survival in hellish environments we cannot endure. Saltar slammed his clawed fist on the console. We underestimated them. Their rage is a weapon sharper than any blade. The Vanguard team, battered but alive, reached the extraction zone, breath ragged and armor scorched. Lena glanced up as the Dauntless's cloaked shuttle descended through the storm, a dark shape against the lightning-riven clouds. As they boarded, she allowed herself a brief, exhausted smile. We're not just survivors, she said quietly. We're the storm that burns through their world. Kara greeted them aboard, her face grave but proud. Mission success, she confirmed. But this is only the beginning. Later, in the silent moments aboard the ship, Kara stared out at the turbulent skies of Tarknar, her mind weighed with memories of betrayal and loss. She whispered to herself, a vow born in fire. We were forged in death, sharpened by betrayal. They called us primitive, slow. But we are the reckoning, the flame that burns through clouds and shatters worlds. The Dauntless burned through the toxic clouds once more, an inferno against the night, carrying humanity's vengeance into the heart of an alien empire. As the battle rages on Tarknar's surface, the emotional and psychological toll fractures. The Vyrix leadership. Commander Saltar confronts his doubts and fear, unraveling the veneer of control. On the human side, Commander Kara and Sergeant Lena face the burden of command, weighed down by memories and the brutal demands of their mission. In the dimly lit war chamber of the Vyrix command, Commander Saltar paced, claws tapping a frantic rhythm against the obsidian floor. The communication blackout had crippled their forces, and reports of failed counterattacks poured in like poison. Why won't they relent? Saltar growled. They strike, then vanish, like ghosts born of fire. His second-in-command, Vylith, watched quietly, sensing the growing storm beneath Saltar's measured exterior. They are death. Incarnate, Vylith whispered. Their fury is not mere rage, but something forged by a world that breaks the strong and bends the unyielding. Saltar's gaze darkened, haunted by fear. How can we fight shadows? Meanwhile, aboard the Dauntless, Commander Kara Vesh stood alone on the observation deck, staring into Tarknar's toxic sky. Memories flickered behind her eyes. The betrayal of the lost colony, the countless lives burned on planets like this. Sergeant Lena Marks approached silently, her expression tight. You carry their weight, Lena said softly. Kara nodded. Every mission feels like a fight against ghosts. But we carry hope too. Lena's gaze hardened. And the fire to see it through. The two women shared a brief moment of quiet understanding before the ship's alarms shattered the stillness. "New contacts detected," Reyes announced from the tactical station. "Vyrix reinforcements closing in. They're not done yet." Kara's eyes flashed with resolve. "Then we burn brighter. They underestimate the forge that made us." The war was far from over, but humanity's flame had already ignited a new reckoning. Trapped deep within the hostile Deathworld, Kara and Lena lead a desperate assault to seize a critical Vyrix weapon. The human forces face not only brutal alien combat, but also the fracturing of their own resolve under crushing pressure. The Vyrix grapple with fear and madness as their empire's core weakens. In this crucible, the true nature of humanity's fiery spirit is revealed, unyielding, chaotic and terrifying. The storm overhead had reached a fever pitch, boiling with acid rain and crackling lightning that split the sky like shattered glass. Taknar's toxic atmosphere churned with rage, as if the planet itself was alive and screaming beneath humanity's assault. Inside the Dauntless, the ship's systems hummed steadily, nanomachines dancing invisibly through its hull, patching microscopic damages and cloaking it in shifting veils of adaptive light. Yet inside, the crew knew the calm was a fragile thing. Commander Krylos Vex stood in the operations center, a ring of tactical screens glowing around her like a halo of war. Her gaze was hard, focused on the battered map of Taknar's surface. "We've disrupted their communications, but it's not enough," she said quietly. "They're regrouping around the core weapons platform. If they regain control, the whole sector is lost." Lieutenant Reyes tapped a console, bringing up an image of the massive structure, a towering crystalline array pulsating with energy, casting eerie shadows across the alien wasteland. Old Vyrix tech, heavily shielded and potentially capable of firing plasma bursts that can strip the atmosphere from an entire valley, Reyes explained. "If they activate it, we lose all tactical advantage." Kara's jaw clenched. "Then we take it out. Lena, your team is the spear. Infiltrate plant charges and exfiltrate before they realize what hit them." Sergeant Lena Marks nodded, muscles tense. "Understood, Commander. We go in fast and hard." Outside, the Vanguard team prepared for insertion. The shuttle's engines roared against the turbulent atmosphere, buffeted by the storms and crackling energy discharges. Lena's team adjusted their masks, the adaptive stealth armor flickering between muted camouflage patterns. Each soldier bore the scars of previous battles, their eyes betraying exhaustion and iron will. "Remember," Lena reminded them, voice low but fierce, "this isn't just a mission. It's a test of everything we are. Born from Deathworlds, tempered in fire. We don't falter." The shuttle pierced the clouds, dropping toward the surface as lightning danced dangerously close. The landing was rough, a violent jolt that threw soldiers forward. The hatch hissed open and the team plunged into the nightmarish world below. Taknar's surface was a chaotic landscape of jagged rock, acid pools steaming under the violent rain and twisted alien flora that seemed to recoil from the human presence. The air was thick with the stench of sulfur and burnt ozone. Every breath was filtered through masks designed to keep the worst toxins at bay. But even so, the environment was an unrelenting enemy. Lena signaled forward, moving in tight formation. They navigated through craters and skeletal remains of earlier skirmishes, ghosts of Deathworld battles past. The Vyrix were aware of their presence. Patrols scoured the area, their multi-limbed forms moving with predatory grace, scanning with glowing ocular sensors. Suddenly, a shrill alarm echoed through. "The comms, a trap, ambush!" Lena barked. Plasma fire erupted from the shadows, bolts sizzling through the air. Lena dove behind a jagged boulder as a volley exploded nearby, scattering shards of stone and acid. "Return fire," she ordered, voice steady despite the chaos. The firefight was brutal and disorienting. Virix warriors leapt from the shadows, claws slashing, plasma guns blazing. Lena's team fought back with ferocity, grenades detonating in acid pools, creating clouds of toxic steam. Sergeant Mark's mind raced, focusing on every detail. Enemy positions, incoming fire, escape routes. Their training, honed on Earth's deadliest deathworlds, kept them alive, yet beneath the adrenaline was a gnawing tension, fear of failure, of being swallowed by the hostile world that had forged them. "Charges set," Jin's voice crackled in her ear. "Ready for extraction." "Hold the line," Lena responded. "Extraction in 2 minutes. Don't let them flank us." Back aboard the Dauntless, Commander Kara felt the weight of command crushing her chest. She monitored the battle feeds, watching her soldiers fight. Against impossible odds, memories surged of the lost colony, of betrayal by those who once swore alliance, of harsh lessons learned on planets that tried to kill her before she even took her first breath. "Why are we like this?" Kara whispered to herself. "Why do we burn so fiercely, so endlessly?" Lieutenant Reyes answered quietly from the console. "Because we were born in fire. Because the Deathworlds don't forgive weakness." On Tarkna, the Virix forces were fraying. Their leader, Commander Saltar, paced nervously in the command hub, watching the battle unfold on cracked holoscreens. "We must crush them before they destroy the weapon," Saltar growled, antennae twitching with agitation. "Send reinforcements, everything." His officers scrambled, dispatching troops into the maelstrom. But the human stealth tech, combined with nanotech disruption, threw their forces into disarray. Fear crept into Saltar's heart. The primitive humans were not just resilient, they were relentless, a burning storm that threatened to engulf them. Back on the ground, Lena's team fought a desperate retreat, plasma bolts streaking past, acid pools hissing nearby. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the valley. The charges had detonated. The Virix weapon array collapsed in a cascade of fractured crystal and roaring energy, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. But the victory was costly. "Fall back. Fall. Back!" Lena ordered, dragging a wounded comrade. The extraction shuttle hovered, engines screaming against the storm. The team raced toward it, dodging enemy fire. One by one, they boarded, exhaustion and pain etched into every face. As the hatch sealed, Lena looked back at the burning ruin of the weapon platform. "We broke the crucible," she said breathlessly. Kara's voice came over the comm, calm but fierce. "And now we burn the rest." Later, aboard the Dauntless, the crew gathered in. The mess hall, silence filled the room. Each soldier lost in their own thoughts of the battle's cost. Kara addressed them, her voice carrying the weight of command. "We are not just fighting for survival," she said. "We fight because we remember, because we carry the fires of Deathworlds inside us. We will not be broken. We will not be silenced." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Outside, Tarkna's storms raged on, but inside the Dauntless, humanity's flame burned brighter than ever, a beacon in the dark, a promise that they would not yield. The victory at the weapons array reverberates through human and Virix ranks alike, shaking beliefs and igniting fear. On board the Dauntless, Commander Kara wrestles with the psychological cost of their war, while Sergeant Lena contemplates the scars left on her team. Far below, Virix leaders spiral into paranoia, haunted by humanity's relentless fury forged. In Deathworld fire, the hum of the Dauntless's engines was a low, steady heartbeat beneath the tension that gripped the ship. Outside, Tarkna's violent storms churned, an unyielding tempest that mirrored the turmoil within. Commander Karavesh sat alone in her quarters, the glow of distant stars barely piercing the viewport. Her thoughts twisted like the lightning. Outside, victory was a bitter taste, sharp and raw. "Every mission takes more than lives," she whispered to herself. "It takes pieces of us." A soft chime interrupted her. Lieutenant Reyes appeared on the hollow screen, his expression grave but controlled. "Commander, we've intercepted fragmented Vyrix transmissions," he said. "They're disoriented. Paranoia, spreading fast. They fear the death fire we carry." Kara nodded slowly, eyes distant. "Good. Let fear be their undoing." Down in the ship's medbay, Sergeant Lena Marks moved among her team. Their wounds were healing, but the deeper scars ran invisible. Fractured minds, haunted dreams. She knelt beside Corporal Jin, whose steady breathing was a fragile thread. "We made it through, but not unbroken," she murmured. "This war is grinding us down." Jin's eyes fluttered open. "We're forged in the same fire. That's what makes us strong." Meanwhile, deep within Tarknar's shattered command hub, Vyrix leaders gathered in urgent council. Commander Saltar's antennae twitched anxiously as he listened to reports. "The humans are not just soldiers," Saltar growled. "They are storms, chaotic, relentless, unyielding." A junior officer trembled. "Sir, their technology confounds us. Our forces are fracturing." Saltar's eyes darkened. "Then we must adapt, or be consumed." Back aboard the Dauntless, Kara convened a strategy meeting. Around the table, faces etched with fatigue and resolve turned toward her. "Our enemy believes us a madness born from Deathworlds," Kara began. "They see us as ghosts, storms, fire. Let us be all that, and more. We strike at their heart." Next, Lieutenant Reyes leaned forward. "Intelligence suggests their capital ship is vulnerable. A direct assault could cripple their command." Kara's gaze hardened. "Then that is our crucible. We either break them here or die trying." As the ship prepared for its next move, Kara stood once more before the viewport. Tarknar's storms raged on, a deadly crucible that had shaped humanity's fury. She whispered into the dark. "We are forged in death, burned through clouds, and we will not be broken." Humanity prepares for a daring assault on the Vyrix capital ship, a bold gamble that could decide the war's fate. Commander Kara wrestles with doubts and the burden of sacrifice, while Vyrix leadership spirals deeper into chaos. As battles rage in space and on Tarknar's surface, the true cost of defiance burns brighter than ever. The Dauntless drifted in the void, its sleek hull reflecting the cold light of distant stars. Ahead loomed the Vyrix capital ship, an immense fortress of crystalline armor and glowing energy conduits, silent and foreboding against the black. Commander Kara Vesh stood on the bridge, her silhouette framed by the viewport. Her mind was a storm of calculation and unease. "We've come too far to falter now," she said quietly. Lieutenant Reyes tapped a console, bringing up tactical schematics. "Enemy defenses are extensive, but show weak points near the engine arrays. A strike there could disable propulsion and communications simultaneously." Kara's eyes narrowed. "We hit them hard and fast. No mercy." Below decks, the crew prepared for the coming battle. Soldiers checked gear, engineers calibrated weapons, and medics stood ready to receive the inevitable casualties. Sergeant Lena Marks moved through the corridors, her voice steady as she rallied her team. "Remember why we fight," she said. "Not just for survival, but for every life they tried to snuff out. We carry their fire." Her words sparked quiet determination, even as fear flickered behind their eyes. In the Vyrix command chamber, Commander Saltar paced in agitation. The earlier assault on their surface installations had shaken them deeply. "Our empire is cracking," Saltar admitted, voice low and fierce. "Their fire is unlike anything we've faced. It burns through our lines and our minds." His advisors whispered, panic edging their words. Saltar's antennae twitched. "We must strike back before they break us completely. Prepare for counterattack." The battle began with brutal ferocity. Plasma beams lanced through space, illuminating the void with deadly color. The Dauntless maneuvered with precision, weaving through enemy fire. Kara's voice cut through the chaos. "Focus! On the engine arrays, shields up, weapons at the ready." Explosions rocked the capital ship as human torpedoes found their marks. The Vyrix retaliated fiercely, plasma barrages scouring the Dauntless's hull. In the midst of the firefight, Kara's thoughts flickered to the cost. The lives lost, the sacrifices made. Is this the price of defiance? She wondered. Back. On Tarknar, remnants of human forces held ground against desperate Vyrix counterattacks. Sergeant Lena coordinated defenses, her voice steady despite the chaos. "We hold this line for our fallen, for our future." Her team fought with savage determination, fueled by memories of Deathworlds and the knowledge that surrender meant oblivion. As the battle raged, a critical breach was made in the Vyrix capital ship's engine compartment. Explosions rippled through the enemy vessel, systems failing in rapid succession. Kara seized the moment. "Now, board their ship! End this!" Teams of soldiers launched boarding pods, plunging into the heart of the enemy fortress. Inside the Vyrix vessel, chaos reigned. Alien soldiers scrambled to repel invaders, but human ferocity was overwhelming. Kara led the charge, her mind a blend of strategy and raw instinct. "We are the fire they feared," she whispered, "and we will burn them to ashes." The boarding assault on the Vyrix capital ship pushes human soldiers to the edge of endurance. Commander Kara confronts not only enemy forces, but her own doubts and fears. Amidst the chaos, unexpected alliances and fierce defiance reveal humanity's unyielding spirit. The line between victory and annihilation blurs as the battle's final crucible approaches. The corridors of the Vyrix capital ship were a labyrinth of glowing crystalline panels and pulsating conduits, humming with alien energy. The sterile silence was shattered by the thunder of boots, gunfire, and the roar of combat. Commander Krylos Vex led the spearhead, her pulse rifle crackling as she swept down the hall. Around her, soldiers moved with deadly precision, faces set in grim determination. "Push forward. Secure the bridge," Kara ordered, voice sharp. The Vyrix resistance was fierce. Multi-limbed warriors surged from the shadows, claws flashing, plasma pistols blazing. But the humans were relentless, their training on Deathworlds evident in every calculated strike. In the chaos, Kara found herself locked in a brutal struggle with a towering Vyrix captain. The alien's claws slashed. Kara dodged, countered with a stun grenade that shattered the creature's armor. Breathing hard, she pressed on, driven by memories of those lost on Tarknar and the faces of comrades fallen too soon. "This ends. Now," Kara whispered fiercely. Behind her, Sergeant Lena led a team securing the ship's power core. They planted charges with precise timing, the countdown a silent rhythm of hope and desperation. 2 minutes until detonation, Lena reported over comms. Kara's voice was steady, despite the tension. "Get out. No heroics." As explosions rocked the ship, Kara paused in a quiet alcove. The alien architecture shimmered around her, beautiful yet deadly, a stark reminder of the Vyrix Empire's former glory. She closed her eyes briefly, feeling the fire within, the fury, the resilience, the unbreakable will. We are not just survivors, Kara thought. We are the storm they cannot weather. Suddenly, the hull shuddered violently. An emergency siren wailed. The Vyrix ship was collapsing. "Retreat! Fall back to extraction!" Kara commanded. The soldiers raced through twisting corridors, fighting off last-ditch enemy attacks as the ship fell apart around them. Back on the Dauntless, the extraction teams fired thrusters, snatching soldiers from the jaws of destruction. Lena was among the last aboard, bloodied but unbroken. As the ship pulled away, Kara watched the Vyrix fortress break apart in a cascade of fire and debris. "We've won a battle," she said softly, voice tinged with sorrow. "But the war is far from over." In the aftermath of the devastating assault on the Vyrix capital ship, human forces regroup amid mounting losses. Commander Kara grapples with the haunting cost of their victory, while Vyric's leadership teeters on the brink of collapse. Across war-torn Tarknar, both sides prepare for what could be the final confrontation, where only fury and willpower will decide the fate of worlds. The Dauntless hung in orbit above Tarknar, its battered hull scarred from recent combat. Inside, the ship thrummed with the quiet pulse of systems working overtime to repair damage and sustain life. Commander Krylos Vex stood before the viewport, eyes dark and thoughtful. The ruins of the Vyric's capital ship shimmered below like a dying star, once proud, now shattered. Her voice was barely a whisper. We broke their heart, but at what cost? The ship's medbay was a hive of activity. Soldiers moved like ghosts through the corridors, some limping, some broken in ways unseen. Sergeant Lena Marks sat beside a terminal, reviewing casualty reports. The numbers were grim. "We won the fight," she said, voice hard. "But the fire inside us is burning thin." Corporal Jin, recovering nearby, looked up. "Then we make it burn brighter. For every fallen comrade." Lena nodded slowly. "We have to." On Tarknar's surface, Vyric's forces retreated into the deep tunnels beneath the planet's crust. Commander Saltar gathered his remaining officers, his antennae twitching with desperation. "The humans are monsters," he hissed, "born of Deathworlds, forged in fire. We underestimated their fury." An advisor whispered, "Our empire is cracking. If we don't act soon, it will fall." Saltar's gaze was cold steel. "Then we fight until the last spark dies." Back aboard the Dauntless, Kara convened a council of war. The room was heavy with exhaustion and determination. "Our enemy is broken but not defeated," Kara began. "They will fight with desperation, with everything they have left." Lieutenant Reyes spoke up. "Their capital ship's destruction has given us a critical advantage. We must press it." Kara's eyes burned with fierce resolve. "Then we press. For survival. For revenge. For the fire that burns within us all." Outside the ship, Tarknar's storms raged on, silent witnesses to a war that would shape the fate of galaxies. Inside, humanity's flame refused to be extinguished. The final confrontation on Tarknar's surface brings humanity and the Vyrics to the brink of extinction. Commander Kara leads a desperate push into the heart of the alien stronghold, confronting not only their enemies, but the shadows of their own sacrifice. In a blaze of fire and fury, the true strength of humanity is revealed, a power born from death, loss, and unbreakable resolve. Lightning tore across the dark skies of Tarknar, illuminating the shattered landscape in stark flashes. The air was thick with ozone and the acrid scent of burning metal. Commander Krylos Vex stood at the forefront of the human advance, her pulse rifle steady, eyes burning with fierce purpose. "Forward!" she commanded, voice slicing through the storm. The Vyric stronghold loomed ahead, an imposing fortress carved into the jagged cliffs, pulsing with alien energy. Around her, soldiers moved with hardened determination, their faces etched with exhaustion and resolve. Sergeant Lena was at Kara's side, coordinating squads and watching for traps. "This is the crucible," Lena said. "We either burn through or we burn out." Kara nodded. "Then let's make our fire the last they ever see." Inside the fortress, the battle was chaos incarnate. Vyric's warriors fought with primal fury, clawing and biting with desperate strength. Kara and her team pressed through corridors, slick with alien ichor and shattered crystal. Each step forward was a step deeper into hell. In the heart of the stronghold, Kara confronted Commander Saltar. The alien's eyes glowed with rage and fear. "You cannot win," Saltar hissed. "Your kind is born of death and destruction. You are the monsters." Kara's voice was cold steel. "We are the fire forged in Deathworlds, and fire consumes all." Their duel was brutal, claws against rifles, strategy against raw instinct, but Kara's resolve was unbreakable. With a final surge, she disarmed Saltar, forcing him to the ground. "We decide the fate of this world," she said. "Not monsters, but survivors." As the fortress began to collapse around them, Kara ordered retreat. "Fall back! Extraction incoming!" Soldiers raced through crumbling halls as explosions tore the stronghold apart. Outside, the dauntless shuttles descended, pulling survivors from the jaws of destruction. On the ship's bridge, Kara watched Takna recede beneath them. A planet forever changed. Her voice was quiet but resolute. "We were forged in fire and death. We burned through the clouds, and we will rise." The galaxy would remember humanity not as monsters, but as the storm that refused to be broken.